Hello, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. um Hopefully you had a good week. Anyways, if you're still new, please do the Lord's work, subscribe, like, share and comment. Otherwise, hope you like the video. So on today's video, on the last video I said we're gonna be talking about 4 loops, but that will be I think in 2 lessons. Today's I'm gonna be teaching, or rather talking about methods. Yes, as you can see on the screen, methods are just piece of codes, chunks of codes, rather, which makes our code to be easier to read, easier to isolate mistakes or debugging, and also reduces the repetition in our code. So we have a code which like repeats a lot, lines of code which repeats a lot. You can just take that chunk of lines, if there's such a word, and then put them in one of the method, either subroutine and function, and then call that method in where you are using, where those lines where you call that method. Otherwise, let me just continue and then you'll get to understand as we continue. So here we have two types of methods, as I said, subroutine and functions. Here are the examples of each of the two. Functions, we have cstr, csdbl, and then cdbl and cint. We used this c whatever to convert whatsoever to either cstr, cdbl, and cint. And as you have noticed before, when we are converting, we put whatever we want to convert inside brackets, and then this comes outside to show that we are passing that thing that we want to convert inside of this function. And then, as you've seen also, you just don't call this alone. You actually assign it to something else. Assign, I mean, it's gonna be a variable equals to this, and then you pass whatever information in the brackets. So that's a function. And then a message box is one of the examples for subroutine. Some message box you don't have to assign it to anything, you just call it as it is and then pass whatever in the brackets, and it does the work for you. This one does the work for you and also returns something that you're gonna be using for later or whatsoever. This one you can just pass whatever, but and then does the work for you, but then you don't expect and it won't ever return anything to you unless there's only one tricky way to do so in order for it to return something for you, which will be learning about it way later on. So function and subroutines do not return a value, they just do the work for you without returning anything. Functions, they do the work for you and then they return something at the end of the day, which you'll be using afterwards. And then here's a diagram point of view, subroutine and functions. As you can see here, there's nothing that comes out of this thing because they don't return anything. Here there's something that comes out of this thing because as it should, it's supposed to return something at the end of the day. Those are functions. Moving forward, this is how you implement them. Private, what is it visibility or what? I forgot what we have. Private, we have public, we have protected. I just forgot the generalization. Okay. I just forgot the common word, how these things are called. I think it's the visibility of the function. They tell you the visibility of this function, or the accessibility rather of this function. This thing is private, it cannot be accessed as outside of the wherever it is implemented at. So let's say we have a class, but you see what I mean forward. Moving forward, and then this private telling the accessibility of this function, subroutine telling that this thing is a subroutine, and then the name of the subroutine, this will be used, the name will be used when you want to call this thing. And then this section, that's where we pass parameters, which will be covered on the next page, I think, of this slide. And then your code comes here and then ends up, and then for the function also, this tells you the accessibility of this function. And then function, tell is a function, the function name, the parameters part, and then this part here, just the same as how you declare a variable, telling that the computer that this is the type of variable, and you want this variable to hold this kind of information. You do the same for functions, because you don't want to be doing whatsoever here and then returning. Okay, now let me just cut that off and repeat again. So here you use this to tell the function that whatever you're returning here will be of this kind of data type, and what you declare is here must also be the same thing as what you return here, meaning the variable that you return here must be of data type that is the same as how you declared your function. Hope it makes sense. And then end of sub, and function here. Unfortunately, they did a mistake. It's supposed to be end function, not end sub. Yeah, moving forward, this is an example again. You pass this. By the way, these things that you pass inside these brackets, they are called arguments. These are arguments, and this is an argument, and you can see the difference between a function and a subroutine. You don't have to assign this message box to anything, but here you have to assign this function to something because it returns something. Anyways, moving forward, also I talked about parameters. These are different from what you see there, what you see here. Here's when you're calling the name of whatever, either subroutine or function, and then you're passing in information. What you're passing in there, we call them arguments. Here's when you're implementing your function or subroutine, and then in what you pass inside those brackets, we call them parameters, and you can put as many as you want, dividing them by a comma. Yeah, moving forward, talked about the equal sign, closer look, and then here's an example. Well, there's nothing wrong with this, but imagine if you had two buttons, and then your code would be looking like this. So this is wrong. Well, it's not wrong, yes, because the button will still work and function the same, but then repetition of code is not advised. Yeah, it's not a good practice for you to be repeating code. So what you can do is create a function and then put a relevant code, lines that are relevant in that function or subroutine, and then call that thing inside of these buttons. So yeah, instead of just doing the same thing over and over again. How we're gonna do that on this slide? Remember when I talked about these things, private and whatsoever, and saying they tell you about the accessibility of whatever you are declaring or implementing. This thing, private count as integer, this tells you that this thing is private. What do we mean by private? We mean that you can't access this variable count outside of this class from test methods. If you were in another class and you try to call this, you will not find it because it's private. Public, you can find it in another class. Hope it makes sense. Same as these functions, private, they tell you the accessibility of this function. You cannot find this function in another class because it's private. And same as this one. That's what they mean about these things, private, public, and there's protected, who should be used in OPP, object oriented principles. What we'll be talking about classes, inheritance and stuff. We'll be using a lot of protected things there. Anyways, moving forward, this is how you at least try to approach reducing this code into a more code-like thing. So I mean, yeah, did I say code-like thing? Anyway, yes, this is how you do it. You take those lines that were here, take these lines here, and then you create a function, a subroutine, and then inside the subroutine you also make it have a single parameter which will be used to pass in the count value, and then yeah, you use that count value or that parameter, that variable in the parameter, to do your code. If count value is greater than 5, then message box that show limit has been reached. You see we are not returning anything here. So and then here you're just calling the subroutine here, and then you pass in the count and count to. So what's gonna happen here, once the user clicks the button for the 5th time now, 5 is not greater than 5, so it's gonna okay, wait, is it for the 5th time or for the 6th time? Because 5 is not greater than 5, so I think it's gonna be when the user clicks the a button for the 6th time. Yeah, for the 6th time, then this thing will call the message will pop up saying limit has been reached on each of this button. You click it 5 times here, you click it 5 times, it will be okay. On the 6th time, this message will be popped up, and same as this button here. They do the same work, but you can even take it further to pass it another variable here. One parameter like whatsoever sharp. Checking using whatsoever. Okay. Yes. Here they even took it further to pass another parameter here called limit. Instead of saying counter, if counter value is greater than 5, then they say if counter value is greater than limit, where the limit will be passed. So here you can see that the limit is 3, meaning if the button was pressed for the 4th time, this message will be popped. This one doesn't change. If the message was popped, if the button was clicked for the 6th time, this message will be popped of this thingy. So that's just it about subroutines. They do the work for you without returning anything. They just do the work and then put it up there without them returning anything that you must use or whatsoever. And then again, 2 parameters. Order is important. Well, if you put this here and put this here, as long as here you're using them correctly, it doesn't matter. But then, yeah, order is important. Count value, limit. It also helps you as a coder to know what's happening there. Moving forward, using count of limit function. Well, closer look again. Now we go to count functions. This is another way of returning something, by the way. Okay, again, private to tell you about the accessibility of this function. And yes, it is a function because the function, the name of the function add numbers, and it doesn't have parameters as yet. And then it's declared as an integer, meaning whatever it returns must be of type integer. And then as you can see here, to return, they used add numbers to return the name of the functions to return. We call this I think it's the recursion, if I'm not mistaken, recursion, where you return the name of the function whatsoever. No, okay, that one I think it's return, then the name of the function, then whatever. Okay, yeah, this one is another way of returning your things inside the code. You just call the name of the function and then you equate it to whatever. So it's gonna returning a plus b. So where does this a plus b comes from? Remember when I told you guys about kind of variable we have? When I said we have global variables and local variables, a and b, they come from this part here. Private a comma b as integers. This is another way of declaring things that are of the same data type. Instead of you using another line to declare number b, just put it on the single line as a and divide it by a comma. So yeah, it is doable and it is acceptable. Anyways, a and b are global variables, so they can be used here and here. Anywhere in this class. By class I mean anywhere between 1 and line 15, line 1 and line 15. These variables can be used anywhere in here. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm adding them together, and then here I am taking the values from whatever input box. I'm getting the values and then assign them and store them in this a and b, and then here I'm saying a and b is equals to whatever, and I'm calling and I'm returning it, storing it to this. I'm returning it actually, and then here I'm saying answer, which is another variable here declared as an integer. You say it's equals to add numbers. Why? Because add numbers is going to be returning a value, so you must assign it to something else. Of course, that something else you return to must be of the same data type as how your function is declared. Otherwise, you'll have to use convert here, which should be a function inside a function. I hope it makes sense. Anyways, moving forward, this is another way of, I don't know, you can use the return. Okay, you can use the return command instead of the name of the function to return your things again. They said something about this will, however, not work. Return must be last command. I didn't get it. I didn't get why they said this will not. Oh, okay. I think. Wait, what? I am not getting it. I'm not getting what they're saying. Return must be last command. Please execute the rest of this code. Oh, return must be the last command. Yes, I think I do get it. I don't know why they mention it though. I mean, if you had a lot of, if you had this code here, and then you also had maybe another code here, it wouldn't make sense. Oh wait, what? I will still return the A plus B. It will still work, but then the code below wouldn't be regarded unless you call another return while doing the code below. For a moment I thought maybe it's because these are global variables, so it's gonna come here and try to add these things which are null at this point, which might be something else, but I'm not getting the point of this text here. If you know or see anything, or they've explained why this line or why this is not, why this won't work, I'm lazy to put it into practice. I mean, I'm lazy to code this out and see what will happen, because now I just want to explain, because we have a lot to cover. Otherwise, function with two parameters, and then yes, as I said, you divide them by a comma, and then by val y is integer, add 2 is equals to x plus y. Again, I don't know why they prefer this. I would have used the return x plus y, but anyway, it's also okay. And then here do the same thing, get the information from whatever, store them in A and B, and then pass the oh yeah, this is tricky though, because oh yeah, no, it's not tricky. Yeah, it's not tricky. Yeah, no, it's so tricky. These are global variables, and then here they are used to store the information they get from whoever, and then after storing it, take the two values and then pass them into the function A and B. So and then and send whatever comes out to the answer. Now here you're displaying the answer to the text box. This makes sense. Introducing local variables. Now this just gets better. Instead of making A and B global variables, they make them local variables. Now A and B, they're not going to be used anywhere in the class, but only inside this button of btn test function. Not necessary, only needed temporary for duration of method and stuff, and whatsoever. So we use local variables temporarily, and only if you know that variable it's gonna be used inside that function or that method only. That's where the local variables comes in, and this is how you declare them. Dim a comma b as integers, or you can say dim a as integer, then new line dim b as integer. Same thing, same difference. Local versus global. Local is that okay, this is very tricky. Here they're making this not tricky, challenge, a bit of challenge. They're making this variable a global, and then this is a subroutine, and then it ends here, and then they declare a local variable here of the same name as this, or same spelling as the global variable. And then the private sub run this and then test something, which is the name of this, and then they say message box.show cstr available, and then they ask you what is displayed here. What is displayed here? One will say what is displayed here? What is displayed here again? This is a good question. I'll say nothing is displayed. Why am I saying so? Because this var1 as integer, It's never used anywhere. And then don't be confused by this part here. What's happening here, you are declaring a local variable here, this part, and here you are saying val1 is equal to 10. So the question now is this variable this one or the one of the global? The question is the one of the local variable, because the one of the global, if you wanted to access the one of the global, you would have used this keyword called this dot. There's this keyword called this dot, simply meaning, let me just answer this real quick, guys. Sorry about this. Yes. Oh, okay. I think I deleted my boy the recording. Anyway, as I was saying, the this one here, in order for this variable, that is variable, to be this one, you would have, or you could use this keyword dot, and then this now whatever you assign will be assigned to this variable. But then here you just use the normal one, var1, then it's gonna use this one, the local one. I hope it makes sense. There's the word keyword called this, simply this meaning referring to the class, the name of the class. So you might say it's the same as saying FRM test dot var1 and then equals to 10, then yeah, that would work. Now this, what would be displayed here would be 10, and then now it's going to be nothing, because this is not accessed outside of this subroutine. I hope it makes it a good sense. Yeah, otherwise yeah, that's it for this video. I know it's too short, but then the thing is, for the two coming videos is just gonna be lessons. The next lesson is gonna be about tables or tables whatsoever, before we can get to the grid, which will be the second video, and then after that we're gonna be doing a practical. So as you can see, I have not done any practical part here. It's just me explaining what's happening in this slide. Otherwise, peace out, enjoy your day. See you in the next video.